In this video, we're going to take a look at how to create a green roof to enclose the level 1 part of our building, and to be able to allow to have an area for patrons to go out and be able to experience being outside and being out on the green roof. With that, we're going to go ahead and go to the floor command. So rather than using the roof command, I'm going to use the floor command, and I'm going to hit the drop down arrow and choose floor structural, because in the floor command we have the ability to, you can kind of see the metal decking even from the icon. We're able to actually see that and to be able to go through and have that in our section. So that's why that we're going to use this option. It doesn't show up in the roof command, so it's kind of interesting why Revit has not got that brought into it yet, but I'm sure it will be forthcoming. But here I'm going to choose or floor structural, I should say, for our green roof. And for our floor, we want to choose something that's pretty similar. So I'm going to go with the 3-inch lightweight concrete on 2-inch metal deck. And then I'm going to go ahead and edit the type, and I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to go ahead and make this, and I'm just going to call this green roof. And when I do so, I'm going to go ahead and edit the structure. And within here, I'm going to take a look at what kind of structure. So you can kind of see that this is lightweight concrete, and then the decking has a thickness of 0 inches. So what happens is the decking's very, very thin, and then they go through and they pour concrete over the top of it to go through and to hold that. So what we're going to actually do is I'm going to select the structural deck, and it says it's bound in the layer above. So that means that the concrete is actually encasing the metal decking. So I'm going to go ahead and choose actually a standalone deck. So now you're going to see that thin layer, 2 inches of decking, and then you got 5 inches of concrete that's going to work in that case. Now, for this on the concrete, we're going to keep that, but I'm going to change this over to a 4-inch. Typically 4 inches is about the thickness for the concrete they use for our particular green roof, noted by the loads that are going to be carried and the spacing and everything and the design of our structural steel framing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding in some different layers. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a layer, and I'm going to move this up above the core boundary. And the first thing that we're going to have is we're going to go ahead and change this over to a finish. And by the category, I'm going to go ahead and choose a material. Now, because this file was pre-made and given to you, you're going to end up having grass as an option. So I go through and I choose as the green roof grass. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And then the thickness here, we're going to go through and use about 3 inches is about the height for the grass. I'm going to go ahead and that'll show in your section view now. I'm going to go ahead and insert a new layer. I'm going to go ahead and move this down. So this is going to become another finished material. And this is going to end up being our earth. So if I start searching for that, so this is our growing media that we're going to have, and they usually put about 3 inches on there. I'm going to go ahead and say insert. Make sure to move this down. So this is going to be another finished material. We're going to choose in your material listing, if you look at for fabric, so there's a mesh fabric that gets put in. And the fabric is probably about 1/8 of an inch. So when I click inside of there and place that, I'm going to go ahead and say insert and bring in a new material. Here we're going to end up having another finished material that we'll put on. By category, we're going to end up choosing gravel, or some granular drainage is what a lot of the things are noted as. 2 inches for the thickness. And then we're going to add another fabric layer below that. So I'm going to insert, move this down. So this will be another finish with actually it'll be a thermal air layer as far as the function. And we're going to add another fabric layer in there, which is going to end up being kind of like our drainage fabric that we have below. That's going to be another 1/8 of an inch for the thickness. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 more layers, which are really not going to show up on our section view, but these are going to be a membrane layer on both of these. The one on row 6 is going to be a plastic, so it's kind of like a drainage kind of like a drainage map or something like that. So here, plastic is an option. So this is a kind of a translucent plastic that's laid in. So it's going to have a thickness of 0 inches. Same thing on row 7. We're going to go in through and have a vapor barrier. So if I search for vapor retarder can be used, and it's going to be set at 0 inches as well. And this is going to have our green roof material all set up in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. So here you're going to see one thing we're going to note: the default thickness is 1 foot 2 1/4 inches, which they say the nominal thickness of the green roof of a very extensive green roof should be about 15 inches. We're right in the ballpark of what that should be. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Now I can go through and I'm going to move to the level 2 framing, since I started this in the 3D view, and I'm going to choose up here, I'm going to choose pick walls. So make sure I choose the one right before, not the one on the very right, but pick walls. I'm going to choose the walls here, the 3 walls, and I'm going to choose the 4th one as our wall on column line 3. But however, the wall underneath there, the flooring of our inside floor, is going to be what supports it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel a couple times, grab this purple line, and I'm going to have it snap to the outside edge, and I'm going to lock it. So again, I want to snap to that outside edge of the wall, not to the inside. So because our wall there on column line 3 is going to get supported by the flooring on the inside of the building when we go through and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and say, hit the green check mark. Here I will go ahead and go through and take a look at my 3D view. So here was the issue though. If you look down here in the bottom, I didn't check my levels. So that's an easy fix. So when I hover over that floor, there it is. So because I was in that 3D view, so here are the levels on level 1. Let's go ahead and change that to level 2 framing and hit apply. But it still doesn't really fix the issue. So we can see the embedded beams that are inside of there. So I'm going to go ahead and select the flooring again, but I need to height offset by the thickness of the floor. So because the floor always goes where the top level of the floor is always at the aligned with the level that we have associated. So I'm going to go ahead and height offset this by 1 foot 2 1/4 inches. Say apply. It's going to bump this up, and now we go through and have our green roof. If I hide, let me hide this wall actually. If I hide this wall, you're going to be able to see as we look. Now one issue you're going to end up seeing here in a moment is that our door is going to go through the bottom of our door, gets cut off by the green roof, which I noted in the previous video that we'll probably go through and do. But here's our green roof, and there is the top of our beam. So you can see the beams are supporting the green roof, and everything is going to be located just as such. So that's exactly what's kind of going on there. So the columns are supporting it as well. So there's our green roof, and what we can do in this scenario is, now that we've created it, what I would recommend doing is creating a level for the green roof in order to go through and start adding in your various elements, furniture, anything that you wish to decorate the green roof with. So in order to do so, I would end up going to the architecture tab. So we cannot choose level from the 3D view, so we actually have to go to, I'm going to move to the south elevation. I'm going to go ahead and hide this wall here. And then that way I can see the height of the green roof, and you can actually see the decking that's there that's been laid down. But I'm going to go ahead and under the datum panel, I'm going to choose level. And this time I'm going to choose the pick line option. And I'm going to pick the top of the green roof, which is going to get renamed to level 6. And actually, when it automatically goes through and throws a label on the left side, I'm going to go ahead and, with the white dot there, I'm going to go ahead and extend out the level line until it matches with the others. And then I'm going to check the box to go through and have level 6. I may need to go ahead and create the bend in there, drag this up. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back just a little bit so that way we're not impeding into level 2. And level 6 we'll rename to green roof. Yes, we do want to rename the corresponding views. And it looks like I need to drag this back just a little bit more. So I always like to have the title directly, the line directly underneath the title all the way. And then here what I can do is on this end, when I select this end, I can uncheck, and I'm going to drag the line out to match the lengths of the other level lines. Now I have a green roof level that I can go through and have and be able to use. I'm going to go ahead and bring my wall back in this view before I forget. I always like to remember to do all that. Looking at our 3D view, there is our green roof, and in another video we can take a look at what we can do to start adding to our green roof level and to start kind of decorating it and creating some new kind of spaces and things.